I don't know if I've ever done a bed bucket examination of Clarence Thomas, and honestly, if I haven't, then I feel ashamed of myself, considering I've already given him the title of King of the Coons. I gave him that title years ago, and when I say years ago, I'm talking about before I started doing this type of content here on YouTube. The thing that made me give him the title of that was when he had a hand in the wrongful, in my opinion, the wrongful lethal injection of Jordan Davis. Jordan Davis, Troy Davis. If y'all remember that case, it happened years and years ago, like back in the late 80s, but he was put to death back in 2011, if I'm not mistaken, or 2012. It was one of those 2 years, and it came down to him and Anthony Scalia. There was enough evidence to let him go and walk, because it was a huge amount of evidence to show that he wasn't the one that committed this crime. And it came down to those two, and both of them, well, Anthony Scalia, he got his karma because he's, sleeping with the maggots right now. And of course, Clarence Thomas. And they both pretty much opposed it and went against it. And because of those two decisions, Troy Davis ended up being put to death, and when he shouldn't have been. Y'all can go and look into that if y'all want to. I refuse to actually go back and look into that, but for some reason, that case will always be etched in my mind. I remember being so mad at Clarence Thomas, more than I probably already was anyway. But let's fast forward from that to this situation right here. And this is going to prove without the shadow of a doubt why I gave him this title. So, of course, we know that is Clarence Thomas on the right, but in case y'all don't know who the woman is on the left, her name is Crystal Clanton. And apparently Clarence Thomas has hired this woman to be a law clerk for him. Now, it's no problem with that, but there is actually an issue more so on her part. Apparently, this woman had put out some text messages a while back, and in one of those text messages, she put in all caps, "I hate black people." Yes, you heard that correctly. This woman put out in a text message a while back that said, "I hate black people," and it was in all caps. And usually whenever you see someone put something in all caps like that, that means that emotion wise, while you can't hear them say it, that means they're yelling. It's out of anger. So that's where she's coming from. So you can't tell me Clarence Thomas did not know about this woman's actions, but you still hired her to be a law clerk anyway. And I already skimmed through some of the article, and it's like, okay, now it's pretty much all making sense. And again, why Clarence Thomas is who he is. And I'm gonna be reading this article coming from Law and Crime. It was posted February 26, 2024. Crystal Clanton, the attorney whose text declared "I hate black people," sparked an investigation into two judges' hiring practices, will begin working next term as a law clerk for Supreme Court Justice Clarence Thomas, who himself is black, but sometimes I bet he wishes he woke up in the morning and wishes that he wasn't. United States Supreme Court Justice Clarence Thomas has named Crystal Clanton as a judicial clerk for the 2024-25 term, an announcement from the George Mason University Antonin Scalia Law School. Now look at that, I just brought up Anthony Scalia, and he has a whole law school, and that's where she's a product of. And that's also who Clarence Thomas was buddy with. Go figure. The appointment is not particularly surprising, as Thomas has long been a supporter of Clanton's conservative judicial efforts. As the New York Times reported, Thomas supported Clanton's efforts early in her career to get a federal clerkship, including writing a letter of support conveying that he would consider her for a Supreme Court clerkship. She has also remained personally close to Thomas and his wife Jenny Thomas, the New York Times story said, apparently spending Thanksgiving with the couple in 2022. Now, I don't want to put on my tinfoil do-rag, but this woman seems to be awfully close, more closer than usual, to Clarence Thomas. I mean, why? It seems like she's always there, and it seems like I don't know if he's having a fondship of her, but having her at the house with you and your wife, it makes you beg the question, does she have a man in her life? Why would you have this obviously younger woman in your home with you and your wife for Thanksgiving, and why does it seem like she's always around? And it has nothing to do with her job. put a pin in that, because I wouldn't be surprised if something comes out later. I could be wrong. I could be doing a Reed Richards Fantastic Four, Mr. Fantastic reach with this. But I'm going to keep my eye on that one. Before she attended the Scalia Law School, Clanton was hired by the justice's wife to assist with her media ventures. After graduating from law school, Clanton planned to start a year-long clerkship with U.S. District Judge Corey Mays, a Donald Trump appointee in Birmingham, Alabama. Once that was finished, Clanton expected to continue on with a second clerkship, this time with George W. Bush appointee Chief U.S. Circuit Judge for 11th Circuit Court of Appeals, William Holcomb Pryor Jr. Clanton's plans were thrown into disarray in November 2021 when a number of Democratic lawmakers sent a letter to Pryor and Chief Justice out of the Supreme Court John Roberts about the two judges' plan to hire Clanton as a clerk. The letter raised concerns about Pryor and Mays having hired an individual with a history of nakedly racist and hateful conduct as a future law clerk in their chambers. The letter did not refer to Clanton by name, but said the unnamed clerk engaged in alarming behavior that constituted a widely reported pattern of racist and bigoted conduct when she was a national field director for conservative student group Turning Point USA. That's all you need. That's another red flag right there. This woman literally has red flags planted all around her. But of course, Clarence Thomas, he's going to look right past that and hire her. Indeed, a 2017 article detailed text messages Clinton sent to co-workers. She sent a text message to a colleague stating, "I hate black people, like F them all. I hate blacks. End of story." That was the text that was the full text that she sent. The letter also said that the clerk in question would exchange racist remarks regularly with co-workers, including anti-Muslim jokes, including "a bacon a day keeps the Islams away." The behavior in question was said to have occurred when Clanton was 20 years old. So that was back in 2017 when she made those remarks. So she's not even 30 yet. She'll be 30 in 2 years? No, my bad. In 3 years, she'll be 30. So that means she's about 27 or turning 27 this year. Clanton told media she was shown screenshots of the text that she had no recollection of messages sent when she was a quote-unquote teenager, but she was 20. Last time I checked, 20 is not teenage years, so she's trying to get out of it. And that they no longer reflected her current beliefs. Well, if they don't reflect your current beliefs, quote unquote, and the thing is, it doesn't matter when you had these thoughts. It's the fact that you had them and you was a teenager and you were old enough to see. That's the thing that be getting me. Let's hypothetically say she was a teenager when she did send these texts. Like, really think about what she said in those texts. Like, really think about it. It does not matter. They always try to say, "That's not me anymore. I'm a different person." Well, until proven otherwise, I beg to differ. She also reportedly remained close to both Ginny and Clarence Thomas at the time. The letter sent by lawmakers urged Pryor and Mays to investigate the allegations, make a formal report of findings, and take whatever action necessary to maintain public trust in the federal judiciary. The Judicial Council of the Second Circuit did conduct an investigation which concluded that there had been no judicial misconduct associated with Clanton's hiring. The council dismissed the complaint after finding that Pryor and Mays had been aware of the allegations relating to Clanton, but that the two judges had reliable information that those allegations were false. Despite calls for additional investigation into Clanton's behavior, the Second Circuit decided last November that the matter was closed. Of course they did. That decision paved the way for Clanton to begin her work with Thomas during the upcoming term. I'm not surprised. They're giving her all kinds of protection. This is like a bed bucking / Operation Protect the White Woman deluxe right here. It's rare that I actually do one like this, but apparently that's just what it's painting itself out to be. As a Supreme Court clerk, Clanton will be closely involved in ongoing litigation before the court, including assisting with the process of writing opinions and dissents. Supreme Court clerkships are the most highly coveted positions in the legal field, with only 36 positions available to recent law school graduates each year. The Judicial Conference of the United States, led by Roberts, will conduct the first of its 2024 meetings on March 19th for the purpose of considering administrative and policy issues affecting the federal court system and making corresponding recommendations to Congress. The Campaign Legal Center, a watchdog group, made an official request Tuesday that raised concerns over Thomas's alleged ethical violations relating to his failure to disclose various financial dealings. Thomas's close relationships with billionaire donors and conservative activists have led to the justices facing a wave of criticism over behavior spanning decades. And going back to that part where they say, oh, she was just a teenager, she's changed since then. Again, that's something that they can use to their own benefit. When it comes to black people, all of that, oh, we were just kids, we were just teenagers, be damned. Look at Chris Brown. What happened between him and Rihanna was back when he was like 18 and she was like 19 or whatever it was, but I think those were the ages. They still won't let it go with him. And we're talking about back in 2008 when all of that went down between the two of them. But they keep making it seem like it happened yesterday or like within the last few months or within the last year. But they can do stuff like this, and they can say, oh, that's in my past, I was just a kid, I didn't know what I was doing, I'm still very mature and all this, that, and the third, and then they can move forward like nothing happened. They can still have a future that is that's paved in gold for them. So that's where she's getting the protection. But nothing can hide what she said in those text messages where she put in all caps that she hated black people and F them all. And you can't tell me Clarence Thomas did not know about that. And he still decided to hire her anyway because of some presumption that she is not guilty of her sending those text messages, even though there's proof that she did. So because they say she didn't do it, she didn't do it. So if she says, oh, I was a teenager when it happened, that I'm a different person now. Oh, okay, we'll just chalk it up and, move forward. I'm telling you, a lot of the stuff that some of these people do will continue, or will eventually come back and bite them in the ass. And I cannot wait for the day when stuff like that actually does indeed happen.